All right, well, welcome. Welcome to practice. Thanks for joining me here on my YouTube channel. You might be a subscriber to my channel, you might be a subscriber to my newsletter. Either way, I'm grateful that you're here and that we can share practice together. So I thought that I'm practicing in the evening. It may be morning or afternoon for you. Thinking about this idea in the Yoga Sutras, Swami Satchidananda, in his commentary before Patanjali's portion on practice, talks about the mind just sort of being very reckless and in its wandering, and that's the nature of the mind. There's nothing inherently wrong with my mind or your mind. We find ways to anchor the mind and be present in the moment that we're in. And Patanjali offers sort of a formula for that, and it's called, in this portion on practice, Kriya Yoga, the Yoga of Action. And it involves three distinct parts of our second limb, the niyamas. It involves discipline, tapas, showing up even when things are challenging, being willing to be in the fire of that challenge. I like to think of it discipline is not something harsh, but I for myself, discipline is joyful to me, to be able to be motivated to be in my practice. So you can think about that lots of different ways. And the second part is self-awareness without judgment, cultivating the witness, being able to observe our state, whether we're being skillful or unskillful or whatever is happening. And also seeing, that's the small self, also seeing the larger self, capital S, reflected in wisdom tradition and sacred texts, whether that be in the Yoga Sutras or the Bhagavad Gita or in the Judeo-Christian Bible, poetry, being able to see the larger universal self, and then surrendering, Isvara, Pranidhana, surrendering to the Lord, to that which is greater than us, if the word Lord is not something that feels available to you. So working with that, showing up with self-awareness and surrender. It maybe sounds easy, but it's something that, for me at least, it's an ongoing practice. So we start right where we are. So finding your seat that feels supportive, whether you're sitting cross-legged on a chair, I'm using a bolster, and letting the shoulders come up and back, letting the shoulder blades rest on the back ribs, letting there be space between your ears and your shoulders. Sometimes I like to bring my hands to the top of my head because my head is so used to bending forward, to make sure my crown is lengthening up. My ears are above my shoulders. And invite yourself to here just to notice. Notice your brow, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, your throat, your chest, your belly, your hips, your arms and legs, your back. Inviting yourself to be present in your body. Inviting the breath to slow down. And then with intention, we'll take 3 breaths in together, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose if that's available to you. Breathing in, inviting expansion. Breathing out, inviting release, letting go. So we can practice this even in our breath. Breathing in, committing to the discipline of observing our breath, sensing what's present in sensation and awareness as we inhale, and as we exhale, letting that go, releasing. One more breath. Breathing in and exhale, releasing. Great. All right, so we're going to start our physical practice. We're going to start our physical practice lying on our side. So whatever side feels available for you to do that. And you can have your ankles, your knees, your hips, and your shoulders all basically in the same plane. You can have your elbow right below your shoulder. You can have your head in your hand, or you can even let your arm come down and lie down, or put a block underneath your head. You'll use your top arm to help support. And as we begin to lift the top leg, point the toes toward the ceiling. So the hip is sort of outwardly rotating on the inhale. And as you exhale, point the toes toward the opposite ceiling. So we're inwardly rotating the hip on the exhale. So moving, outward rotation, inward rotation. So moving at your own pace and flow, noticing the grounding points shift and change as you move. See if you can link your breath to your movement. Or at the very least, not hold your breath. Feeling maybe that the head of the thigh bone, the femur, sort of rotate in the ball and socket joint. And the next time you come down, just take a breath here. And we're going to bring the bottom leg out to more like an angle. And I'm going to move my bolster here. Bringing the top leg back with the knee bent, and you can let your head come back and sort of open the chest a little bit. And then exhale, sort of come in. Sort of if we were doing this in table, we sometimes do this from table position, but we're doing this now from this side. Inhaling and exhaling. And then go ahead and let the bent knees rest on top of one another. And we're going to inhale the leg up, and to the count of 10, let the leg come down. On the exhale. And inhale up. And exhale down. And one more time. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Feeling perhaps as you come back, feeling perhaps the muscles that we've just worked in this leg, maybe allowing a little bit of just free movement here. And then take your time to switch sides. I'm going to move this way so you can still see me. And establishing that alignment, so the ankles, knees, hips, and shoulders are in the same plane. Letting the toes point up on the inhale toward the opposite side of the room on the exhale. Outward rotation, inward rotation. Again, noticing this side feels a little different. Noticing the muscles shift and change, observing sensation. And then the next time that leg comes down, go ahead and let it rest there. Bring the bottom knee out to an angle, and we'll inhale, let that top leg come back. As you open up space in the chest, exhale, come in toward midline. Inhale, open up. So moving at your own pace and flow. Kicking my bolsters. And the next time you come in toward midline, we'll let the top leg rest on top of the other. And we'll inhale that leg up and exhale down. That slow release where the muscles engage and it slowly comes back to center. Nice, one more time. Awesome. Go ahead and move some free movement here with this top leg, just noticing the impact of the movement that we just engaged in. And we're going to make our way to tall kneel on our mats. And you are welcome, as I am doing here, to take a folded blanket. And you're going to probably want to put the fringy side, like I have here, away from you so that doesn't get caught up in any part of your knee. All right, so we're going to move. I love this flow. This is, to me, this flow is one that speaks to me about an embodied way of flowing and surrendering. So we'll begin. I have my toes tucked. You can. I'm having, my knees are wider than, they're more like shoulder width apart than hip. So decide what feels right for you. Rooting the tailbone down so there's no compression in the lumbar spine. We'll inhale, coming all the way up. This beautiful, humble gesture of asking for what we need. Exhale, coming down into child's humble prostration. Inhale, coming forward into tabletop and back to child's. So we'll move through that again at your own pace and flow, linking your breath and movement. And this time when we come through, if you want to add a down dog, Adho Mukha Shavasana, you're welcome to. Inhaling up. Exhale to child's. Inhale forward, and you can come back to child's, or you can come into down dog, back through table, and into child's. Moving through this at your own pace and flow. One more sequence. And there's something really beautiful to me about creating these little mini flows where we can just move and breathe. So actually, let's do it one more time. And if you're coming into down dog, you can stay here for a couple breaths. If you're not there and you want to linger in child's, or stay in table and do a cat-cow. Again, hopefully, if you're watching these videos, you're giving yourself permission to pay attention to the cues in your own body, making sure there's space between your ears and shoulders, and then taking your time to come down to the knees one last time. Into child's. Breathing in, breathing out. And then I'm going to push my blocks forward, coming down onto the forearms here. And you can widen your knees a little wider. Inhale, coming forward, nice soft inhalation. As you exhale, press down through the hands, through the forearms, letting the head come back between the elbows, chin into chest. Releasing and softening on the inhale, sort of exfoliating the fascia in this part of our body, the tech neck that we get. Releasing, letting go of tension here. And the next time we come forward, you're welcome to clasp your hands. Inhale, come forward, curl the toes. Exhale, lift the hips up, let the head come back between the elbows. If this is a little too intense, you can come down to your knees or you can come to down dog. See if you can keep your face and your hands soft while this perhaps strong sensations are happening in the upper body, the core, the legs. Keep your breath nice and deep and full. Take your time to take a deep breath in. As you exhale, come down to the knees. Releasing once again. We'll come up and I'm going to turn toward the long side of our mat and come into a wide-legged stance. I'm using a blanket to prop up my hips. If your hamstrings are particularly tight, you might have something higher like a bolster, and you might have a couple blankets that are smaller rolled up and placed underneath your knees. That also can be helpful if your hyper mobility in your joints has you lock and put too much pressure on your joints. We want to have the toes flex so the joints are in a nice space. And what I'll do here is I'll just invite you to explore. We have side body opening, keeping everything stable in the lower part of our body, allowing that freedom in our upper body for exploration, coming into a twist so you can explore this at your own pace and flow. Forward fold, nice long spine. So take your time to move throughout, noticing where we're generating heat, being able to observe without judgment what it feels like to open your heart, open the side body, release, let go. Working with these three observances: discipline, awareness, and surrender. And so eventually, this is a nice place to also have a bolster here. Eventually coming into a place of stillness, whether your hands are on your legs and your spine is a little bit upright or you're coming a little bit farther forward. Feels okay for your neck, you can tuck your chin. And just breathing and allowing here. Nice soft breath in the face of what may be strong sensation in your legs. Keeping the heart open, the gaze steady. Take 2 more breaths here, breathing in, breathing out. And then take your time to slowly, slowly, slowly release and come back to seated. And I'm grateful that you joined me for this short practice. I hope that you found something in it for you that could support you mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and ending our time together honoring the source culture of yoga, honoring the Indus Valley civilization, South Asia, the part of the world that gave birth to this living, breathing, ongoing tradition, honoring my teachers, past and present, honoring these platforms that allow us to share practice with one another, and honoring this beautiful planet and the larger cosmos we coexist in together. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.